Hello everyone, this is Gabriela Batres Salinas and I'm going to be your host for this podcast called Exploring New Places. This podcast will talk about all the places that one wonders and thinks about going. We will explore new destinations, local, out of state, and foreign, of where to travel to. Many of the destinations will be about the places that are often overlooked or not considered because people go to the same usual places that are most popular. Here, we will explore popular and unpopular destinations. You might ask, what exactly are you going to talk about? And to answer that question, I will be talking about the destinations, food, culture, activities, restaurants, and people. This podcast is perfect for people that are curious and want to learn a little bit of everything. Therefore, I will try to explain everything that one may be interested when visiting the destinations. Let's get right into it. Welcome back. Today we have a new episode. How exciting. We'll be talking about a very famous battleship called USS Iowa. The USS Iowa battleship is located in San Pedro, California, and if you have never visited this museum, you definitely need to go visit this amazing battleship. This ship has a lot of history and monumental meaning. Also, all money goes to maintaining this great museum that holds so much history, and all funds actually make a difference since this is a non-profit organization, meaning that the government does not give any type of funding for its operations. This museum is open daily from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. Tickets are available for purchase either online or in person. Therefore, you can plan your visit however you see best. If you have never heard of USS Iowa, let me tell you a little bit about this battleship. According to PacificBattleship.com, the USS Iowa is one of the only 4 battleships located in the West Coast. The rest of the battleships can be found on the East Coast majorly. And the nearest one to USS Iowa is USS Missouri in Hawaii, USS Texas in Houston, USS Alabama in Mobile, and USS Alabama in Mobile. There are only 4. Now, USS Iowa is a ship that was home to 3,000 sailors who served during and post World War II. That was 151 officers and 2,637 enlisted men. USS Iowa measurements in length are 887 foot and 3 inches, and its full displacement in the 80s was 55,450 tons. However, her standard displacement is about 45,000 tons. Her nickname is Battleship of Presidents. And you'll hear in a little bit why this is. This battleship was built by New York Naval Yard in June 27, 1940, and it launched on August 27, 1942. USS Iowa served in World War II, the Korean War, and the Cold War. For this service, and I quote, the USS Iowa earned 14 different ribbons over her 50 years of experience. Now, currently, this ship is a symbol for American freedom and a community platform for education, veterans, and community. Now, why is this battleship best known as Battleship of Presidents? This is because it carried President Franklin Roosevelt through the Atlantic in 1943 to meet British Prime Minister Winston Churchill and Soviet Premier Joseph Stalin. Between 1984 and 1989, President George H.W. Bush and President Ronald Reagan utilized this battleship. How interesting is that? And a very cool moment in history, definitely. Speaking about moments in history, this Thursday, February 9th, 2023, they will be holding an event to commemorate the life's achievements of Vice Admiral Samuel Gravely, who was the very first African American to take command of a U.S. Navy combat ship. He broke many barriers in his time and made history as the very first African American commander, captain, Rear Admiral and Vice Admiral in the U.S. Navy before retiring. He was born in June 4th, 1922, and he passed away in October 2004. During the Korean War, he served in the battleship USS Iowa. Now, this is an event for 11th graders and educators who want to inspire and motivate their students to break through society's barriers and to find success. If you cannot make it in person, you can be a part of it via Zoom. You can go to www.gravelyexperience.org/celebration to know where you can find the link and all of the guest speakers information that will be attending this event to celebrate Black History Month. Changing the subject to experiences, the museum has an escape room called Escape the Mothball Fleet. If you're into escape rooms, this is an activity of many that you can be a part of when you visit USS Iowa. On this hands-on experience, you will be given the opportunity to go in places that are not even available in the private tours offered at this museum. And you will see if you are capable of figuring out how to save USS Iowa from the mothball fleet. This 2-hour-long experience can be added on to your general admission ticket purchase, and it allows 6 participants maximum. Also, do know if you have any type of difficulties standing for long periods of time or going up or down steep staircases, then this might not be the best fit for you. But the great thing is that there are so many other activities that you can be a part of. I mean, there is so much to do while visiting this museum. I will talk more about tours and food in a little bit. But to learn more about the escape room experience, you can go to www.pacificbattleship.com. Now, that was a lot of information that I hope you find super interesting so that you explore this new place to create new memories. Now, I'll explain to you a little bit more information about the types of tours that they offer. If you go on big groups or have a big family or even a small family, you can buy guided tours as an add-on to your general admission ticket. For example, they have 4 types of guided tours. They have the tour called the Presidential Tour, which is a 45-minute guided tour that tells you all the stories of all the presidents who had the privilege of navigating on USS Iowa while she was young, but especially about President Franklin Roosevelt, who traveled many times on this ship. Other presidents who have visited or used USS Iowa include President Ronald Reagan, President George H.W. Bush, and President Biden. I believe they start giving this tour at 10 a.m. and they end at 2:30 p.m. The second type of tour is the engineering tour, which lets you be in and see part of this battleship that were off limits to the public since 1943. Now, for this type of tour, it's recommended for individuals 10 years or older, as well as individuals who do not have any issues climbing up and down steep steps in the ship or standing for long periods of time. And for this tour, you have to book it prior to your visit. So do not go on the day of your visit with the conception that you can book it in person on the day of your visit right there and then, because they have a limited number of tours available. And if you are a person who wants to learn everything about this battleship, then a guided tour would be your best choice, since this tour gives you all of the details about USS Iowa. They do advise for you to book this specific tour up to 2 days prior to your visit, because the spots are limited, even though they do offer this type of tour on a daily basis. But again, only to those who have made a reservation prior to their visit. In this guided tour, you will get the chance to be with a crew member that will tell you some of the stories of the people who served on this ship. Everything from It's laid down on June 27, 1940 up until now, and how everything happened to what USS Iowa is today. Tickets are $75 for a party of up to 10 guests. Oh yes, if you do not know what lay down means in shipbuilding, I'll explain because I did not know what lay down means either prior to this episode. And lay down means that the formal recognition or launch to start building a ship. Oh yes, if you do not know what lay down means in shipbuilding, I'll explain because I did not know either prior to this episode. And lay down means the formal recognition or launch to start building a ship. There is one more tour available, and that is a gun tour. This guided tour explains to you all the armor that this ship once used during wartime, and you'll learn everything that has to do with guns. Pretty self-explanatory, I would say. There is one more tour available, and that is a gun tour. This guided tour explains to you all the armor that this ship once used during wartime, and you learn everything that has to do with guns. Pretty self-explanatory, I would say. Now, for this tour, you have to book 2 weeks prior to your visit, only if you plan to go on a Wednesday. If not, this tour is available on Saturdays and Sunday from 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. If you're there thinking, can I not take a self-guided tour, or do they only offer private tours? The answer is that you can, and you are welcome to visit and purchase your general admission ticket and give yourself the opportunity to explore this new destination at your own pace. So the short answer is yes. You can. With the self-guided tour, you can read all of the posters that they have with all the information about this amazing battleship. You are able to see pictures and some videos of USS Iowa at her prime. Some things might seem interesting, and there's not going to be a poster full of information. So there are pros and cons to every tour, you know. It is specific to whatever you are into or want to learn. But it is your decision how and when to experience this new destination. Now, if you want to learn more about this ship and see what tours fit best for your needs, or you want to experience the escape room experience, then you can go to www.pacificbattleship.com/experiences to find all the information that you need to plan your visit. Now, I will share my personal experience visiting USS Iowa. A little bit of background on this. I found out about this ship because they were promoting it on Channel 5, aka KTLA 5. Weekend News, they were promoting an event, and it seemed interesting and family friendly, so I decided to go with my family, and we did the self-guided tour, which is a great way to explore all parts of this ship, and you can go at your own pace, which is great. But if you have a guide, you get all the inside scoop of the information that sometimes cannot be found on the posters displayed throughout the museum. However, we had fun learning all about this battleship. I had never been on a military ship before, and I really liked the self-guided tour because I was admiring everything, all the small and big details. There is a part of the tour that takes you to the cafeteria, and you can read about the tons of food that were needed to feed everybody on the ship. And they have a board with all the food that they had to store when they were, sailing. And it's a lot of food, of water, salt, meat, potatoes, and carrots. And it's just a lot of food. I was expecting a lot of food, but that's a lot of food. Anyway, if you're listening, they're like, duh, it's a big ship. Therefore, it's a lot of food. Well, you're right. It's a lot of food. And it only lasted for a short period of time, maybe like a month or something. And I mean, it's 3,000 men, so it's understandable, but it's crazy. Anyway, they also have displayed some mannequins that simulate how things look like when the ship's kitchen was not in retirement. And it's so cool to see, all the big and small details, like I said previously. And on the self-guided tour that I went to, I also got to see some of the rooms of the Navy officers, and they have it displayed as if it was active or as if it was how they had it back then. And it gives you more of an experience of being in the battleship at her prime, when it was active, or better yet, you feel like you're traveling through times. It's just so interesting. There are so many interesting parts of USS Iowa that I just recommend for you to go to this destination so much, because it's a lot of fun. You learn a lot and you get to go on a battleship if you've never been. It's a great experience. And to me, it felt like when I went, it felt like I was traveling through a part of history, and it helps newer generations understand a little bit more about World War II. It is definitely worth the wait, and you also have the opportunity to buy hot dogs, salads, beer, and wine from Vicky's Doghouse, which is their gourmet hot dog kitchen. The museum is such a great place to visit and learn a lot. Like I mentioned before, you can take amazing pictures from the battleship with your family and friends, as well as the port of Los Angeles. If you do go in the afternoon, you may be able to catch the sunset, and it looks so pretty. So get pictures when you go, and it's, the afternoon time. It is definitely a place that you will create unforgettable memories. Now, I would share my favorite part of this ship, but I just love the entire visit and experience, so I cannot pick just one thing. And another thing that I want to share today is that in the museum's souvenir shop, you can buy MREs. If you don't know what that is, an MRE are meals ready to eat. Oh my gosh, I cannot speak today. I believe it's food that soldiers have to carry in case of an emergency. And I have never seen those bags before, or like I didn't know about these bags before I went to this battleship and to the souvenir shop specifically. And I wanted to try the food from it because I wanted to see if it was good or was bad, what type of food they had. And the bags have different options of food, so you pick whatever you're into. I believe I chose the one with chicken and rice and a flour tortilla that came inside. The fascinating thing to me that I learned when I bought it is that inside the bag includes another bag that comes with a powder, and it has a warning about being careful when it's hot. And I saw that and I was like, interesting. The point is that when you put in the water in this bag, the powder activates and it boils the water that you put in. That's crazy to me. I never seen that before. And the water can be cold or temperature room water, and it boils as if it was on fire. And that's fascinating. Therefore, the food, when you take it out after follow the instructions, and it's about like some minutes or seconds, I don't know. When you open the bag again, the food is hot and ready to eat. So you don't eat cold food or temperature room food. It's hot food as if it was recently cooked. It's great. I had never seen that before, and it was cool to buy this type of souvenir that I can actually eat. And one bag is enough food for you to feel stuffed. It's a lot of food. And how amazing is that? Oh, also, the bag comes with a powdered drink for you to add to your water. And if I remember correctly, it also comes with a snack bar or some sort of snack. Also, if you buy many, you can keep them as emergency food because the expiration date are like in 4 years. It's great to have them at home just in case of an emergency. I mean, you never know, right? When you might need one. I did not buy a lot. I just bought one, but I mean, it's just a tip. It's just a great thing that you could keep in case of an emergency. It could be an emergency essential. I checked on their website and they do not sell the bags in the souvenir section of the website. So I assume it's something that they only have on the museum's souvenir shop when you go in person. Anyway, with all this information about the USS Iowa Battleship Museum, we finally reach our time for 3 fun facts found in pacificbattleship.com. Number 1. Did you know that USS Iowa had installed a bathtub for the convenience for President Roosevelt, which makes it the only U.S. warship with a bathtub? Number 2. This battleship earned 9 stars for its service during World War II and 2 for giving service during the Korean War. Did you guess that when we published that on social media? Comment below. And number 3, Vicky's doghouse mentioned earlier comes from the famous USS Iowa's apprentice mascot named Victory. Nickname Vicky. Nickname Vicky. This dog sailed around the world and earned recognition for being part of the crew. He passed a 50-yard swimming test and he could retrieve sticks. How cute is that? And how interesting are these fun facts? Leave us a comment on our social media accounts about your favorite fun fact and if you were able to get our hint of the week that was published on Wednesday, if you got it right. If you guessed it right. As always, please share this podcast with your loved ones or people at work. And don't forget to follow us on social media. Our Instagram is @exploringnewplaces_podcast and on Facebook @exploringnewplacespodcast. If you like to go on USS Iowa or if you like this episode or any of our other destinations, you can also review us on wherever platform you listen from. It is greatly appreciated and it helps us a lot. So thank you if you do that. Now we actually conclude. Thank you for listening to Exploring New Places podcast to create new memories. Until next time.